Hey everyone, before we dive in, I want to switch things up a bit today and do something fun and different from our usual weekly car news updates. I've been thinking, why not add some unique content like this to the channel every week? So today, we're kicking things off with a list that's sure to get some strong reactions. The 10 most hated cars of 2024. Let me know if you enjoy this kind of content, and maybe we'll make it a regular segment. Hit that like button if you're down for more offbeat videos, and let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines, or maybe don't, because today we're diving into the cars that have revved up all the wrong reactions. From the BMW XM, looking like it's been on a protein shake overdose, to the Mustang Mach-E, the pony car that traded its V8 roar for a silent hum. These are the rides that have the car community fuming. We've got everything from the Prius trying hard to look cool, to Tesla Cybertruck, which still looks like it escaped from a PlayStation 1 game, and Ferrari's Purosangue, their way of saying, alright, we'll make an SUV too. So why are we putting together this list? Let's be honest. Not every car that hits the market is a winner. Sometimes automakers take risks that just don't pay off, or worse, miss the mark completely. This isn't just about roasting cars for fun, though we can't resist. It's about highlighting the most controversial, disappointing, and downright confusing cars of 2024. These are the models that drifted too far from what fans love, made some questionable design choices, or lost touch with their heritage. So buckle up, hit that like button, and join me as we roast through the 10 most hated cars of 2024. Alright, let's kick things off with the BMW XM, a car that's causing quite the stir, and not necessarily in a good way. BMW's first standalone M car since the legendary M1 had enthusiasts hyped, but what they got was something completely unexpected, and not in a good way. The XM is bold, brash, and unapologetically unconventional, with a design that's leaving BMW purists scratching their heads. From its oversized kidney grills that seem to keep growing every year, to its sharp angular lines and bulky profile, this SUV doesn't look like your typical BMW, and that's exactly the problem. The XM's hybrid setup is another sticking point. For a brand known for its ultimate driving machine philosophy, the hybrid powertrain feels like a departure from the raw visceral performance that M cars are famous for. It packs serious power, sure, but to many, it feels like BMW is trying too hard to jump on the hybrid trend without fully committing to the driving excitement that made their cars legendary in the first place. Inside, the XM is loaded with luxury, tech, and bold design choices, but some enthusiasts argue it's too much, prioritizing flash over function. The cabin's opulence doesn't compensate for what's perceived as a lack of driving soul, and for a car with a price tag that rivals supercars, that's a tough pill to swallow. So, what do you think? Is the BMW XM a bold step forward, or is it straying too far from the DNA that made BMW a household name in performance cars? Let me know in the comments, because this SUV is definitely not blending in, and not everyone's a fan. And here's the thing, while the XM might be getting a lot of hate, I've got to say, I actually like the new BMW designs. They remind me of that broken mirror effect that just screams speed and aggression, like the car is always in motion even when it's standing still. It's bold, it's in your face, and yeah, it's not for everyone, but that's what makes it stand out. BMW is taking risks, and personally, I'm here for it. Alright, let's dive into one of the most controversial cars in recent years, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Imagine taking one of the most iconic muscle cars of all time, a car that's synonymous with raw power, V8 growls, and tire-smoking burnouts, and turning it into an electric SUV. That's exactly what Ford did, and let's just say, not everyone's thrilled about it. Mustang purists see the Mach-E as a betrayal, arguing that slapping the Mustang badge on an SUV, electric or not, tarnishes the legacy of a car that's been a symbol of American muscle for over half a century. Despite the Mach-E's impressive performance, with some models hitting 0-60 in under 4 seconds and packing a tech-filled interior that rivals the best EVs out there, many die-hard fans just can't get past the fact that it's not a traditional Mustang. For them, a Mustang means a roaring engine, a sleek coupe design, and the feeling of old-school American muscle. The Mach-E, with its silent electric motor and family-friendly SUV styling, feels like a complete departure from everything the Mustang name stands for. Ford's decision to use the Mustang badge was a bold move, aiming to bring the brand into the future and attract a new tech-savvy audience. And while it's brought in a lot of new fans who appreciate the performance and practicality of an electric SUV, it's also sparked a wave of backlash from those who feel the Mustang should have never gone electric, or at the very least not an SUV form. So what do you think? Is the Mach-E a brilliant reinvention that's pushing the Mustang legacy forward, or did Ford cross a line by turning an American icon into something that it was never meant to be? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the Mustang Mach-E is one car that's keeping the debate alive, one silent drive at a time. And before you start burning your Mustang posters, let's clear one thing up. Ford is still making the ICE version of the Mustang. So no, this EV SUV isn't replacing the classic V8 muscle we all know and love. At least, not for now. The Mach-E is more of an expansion of the Mustang lineup rather than a replacement, giving Ford a chance to dip into the electric market while still keeping the traditional Mustang alive and kicking. So whether you see it as a smart move to evolve with the times or a total misstep that muddies the Mustang's heritage, one thing's for sure. The Mach-E is sparking conversations and keeping the Mustang name in the spotlight. Next up, we have the car that's been the butt of every boring car joke for years, the Toyota Prius. But wait, before you roll your eyes, the new generation Prius is actually trying to change the game with a sleeker design, better performance, and a more aggressive stance. Toyota's clearly put effort into making this Prius look less like a commuter appliance and more like something you'd actually want to be seen in. But here's the catch. Despite the glow-up, the Prius still can't quite escape its old reputation as the ultimate boring car. Car enthusiasts have long snubbed the Prius for its uninspiring drive and eco-friendly image that lacks any sense of excitement. Even with the new sharper lines, wider stance, and a significant boost in power, it's like trying to teach an old dog new tricks. People still see it as the poster child for the soulless commuter. But here's a twist. I've seen some of those internet mods of the new Prius, and honestly, they look pretty wicked. Lowered with aggressive wheels and a few sporty tweaks, the Prius transforms from grocery getter to something that might just turn heads at a car meet. I'll admit, seeing some of those builds almost had me thinking about buying one just to modify it. It's crazy what a little creativity and customization can do to a car's image. So, what's the verdict? Is the new Prius cool now, or is it still struggling to shake off its boring past? Let me know in the comments if you'd ever consider rolling up in a modified Prius, because Toyota's new direction might just be the redemption arc we never saw coming. Next on our list is the Chevrolet Silverado EV, and boy, this one has the truck world talking, and not all in a good way. When Chevy announced that they were electrifying their iconic Silverado, people were excited to see how they'd bring the rugged all-American workhorse into the future. But then the reveal happened, and let's just say it was a shocker. With its radical front end, sleek lines, and almost SUV-like appearance, the Silverado EV looks less like a tough pickup ready for the job site, and more like a futuristic experiment from a sci-fi movie. The bold design, especially the front end with its closed-off grille and unique lighting elements, has left many traditional truck fans scratching their heads. Gone are the boxy aggressive lines that scream tough, replaced by a more streamlined, almost car-like silhouette that feels totally disconnected from what the Silverado name has always stood for. For truck purists, this EV version doesn't capture the rugged spirit, the grit, or the raw power that they expect when they think of a Silverado. And while the Silverado EV packs impressive specs, like plenty of range, towing capability, and the latest tech features, it's the design that's been the main sticking point. It feels like Chevy tried too hard to make the truck look futuristic, and in the process, lost the essence of what makes a pickup a pickup. The Silverado EV is positioned as a capable electric alternative, but the question remains, does it still feel like a real truck? So what do you think? Is the Silverado EV a bold new chapter for electric trucks, or did Chevy miss the mark by straying too far from their roots? Let me know if you'd consider swapping your classic Silverado for this futuristic take, or if you think this one's better left in the concept stage. The Silverado EV might be loaded with tech, but when it comes to keeping the truck's rugged soul, it's got a long way to go to win over the purists. And look, I'm all in for the EV future, but I've got to say, I'm far from the target audience for this truck. It just doesn't hit that rugged, tough as nails vibe that you expect from a Silverado. So for all you ICE Silverado owners out there, what do you think? Does the Silverado EV live up to the legacy, or is it just too far off the mark? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one EV that's got a lot to prove to the old guard. Coming in hot on our list is the Hyundai Ioniq 6, the electric sedan that's got everyone talking, and not always for the right reasons. Hyundai took a big swing with this one, blending a mix of flowing lines, retro cues, and futuristic touches that have made the Ioniq 6 one of the most polarizing designs of the year. It's almost like the designers pulled inspiration from the past, present, and future, all at once, creating a car that looks like it belongs on the set of a sci-fi movie from the 70s. And let's just say, not everyone's on board with that vision. The Ioniq 6 is a major departure from the boxy, rugged looks of traditional sedans, opting instead for a sleek, streamlined body that prioritizes aerodynamics over all else. From its rounded, almost bubble-like rear end to the smooth, uninterrupted lines that run the length of the car, the Ioniq 6 stands out from the crowd, whether you like it or not. Some see it as a bold, daring design that challenges the norm, embracing a unique aesthetic that's different from anything else on the road. But for many car enthusiasts, the Ioniq 6's look just feels off. The flowing, almost teardrop shape doesn't scream sporty or aggressive. It whispers it in a weirdly quiet, artsy kind of way. It's not quite retro, not quite futuristic, and definitely not what you'd expect from a modern electric car, especially when compared to the sharp, techie designs of its rivals like Tesla or Lucid. The Ioniq 6 is definitely one of those cars that looks like nothing else out there. And while some people appreciate Hyundai for taking the risk, others can't get past the odd proportions and quirky styling. So, what's your take? Is the Hyundai Ioniq 6 a refreshing change that's shaking up the EV world, or did Hyundai go a little too far into the design experiment zone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because love it or hate it, the Ioniq 6 is one car you can't ignore. Next up, let's talk about the 2024 Nissan Z, a car that had enthusiasts buzzing with anticipation, but has ended up dividing the community more than expected. Nissan pulled from its rich heritage with this design, blending elements from the iconic 1969 Datsun 240Z and the beloved 1990s 300ZX. On paper, it sounds like the perfect formula, a retro-inspired look that pays homage to some of the greatest sports cars in history. But in practice, the execution hasn't won over everyone. The new Z's design leans heavily into nostalgia, with its long hood, circular headlights, and simple, clean lines that scream classic Z car DNA. For some, it's a refreshing nod to the past that stands out in a sea of overstyled modern sports cars. But others feel that Nissan went a bit too far with the retro theme, calling it uninspired and claiming it looks like they pulled a car from the past without truly modernizing it for today's market. It's like Nissan played it too safe, sticking to a look that, while iconic, doesn't push any boundaries. Inside, things don't get much better for the critics. While the exterior design might have sparked debate, the interior has drawn fire for its lack of premium feel. Some say it doesn't quite meet the expectations set by other modern sports cars, with materials and tech that feel a step behind the competition. It's a car that's fun to look at and drive, but leaves some drivers wishing for a little more attention to detail where they spend the most time: the cabin. Now, as for me, I'm on the side of the new look. I absolutely love where the inspiration comes from. The 1969 Datsun 240Z and the 1990s 300ZX are two of my all-time favorite classics. I think Nissan nailed the nostalgia factor, and hopefully one day I'll get to own one of these new Z's, but I get that it's not everyone's cup of tea. So what's your take? Is the 2024 Nissan Z a perfect blend of old and new, or does it lean too hard on the past without delivering enough of a modern punch? Let me know in the comments if you're team retro, or if you think Nissan should have pushed the envelope a little further with this one. Alright, let's talk about the Tesla Cybertruck, the electric truck that looks like it drove straight out of a video game and into a construction zone. This is the vehicle that has everyone talking, whether they love it or can't stand the sight of it. With its sharp, angular body and stainless steel exoskeleton, the Cybertruck looks like no other truck on the market. And that's exactly why it's become one of the most polarizing vehicles in automotive history. Some people see it as a bold vision of the future, while others think it looks like a child's drawing that somehow became real. The Cybertruck has faced delays in production, and these setbacks have only added to the frustration and skepticism surrounding it. Originally promised to hit the streets much sooner, the repeated delays have left some reservation holders feeling like they're stuck in a never-ending waiting game. But that hasn't stopped the hype or the memes. From its unorthodox design to the infamous window shatter incident during its debut, the Cybertruck is constantly in the spotlight, with enthusiasts and critics alike weighing in on whether it's the truck of the future or just a bizarre experiment gone too far. But here's the thing, the sheer number of celebrities, athletes, and influencers who are buying or are on the wait list for this truck speaks volumes about the impact it's going to have. Love it or hate it, the Cybertruck has already cemented itself as a cultural phenomenon. It's not just a vehicle, it's a statement. People like Elon Musk have always aimed to disrupt the norm, and with high-profile figures backing this truck, the Cybertruck isn't just about breaking the mold, it's about smashing it entirely. So whether you're mesmerized by its Blade Runner aesthetics or you think it's a design disaster, there's no denying that the Cybertruck is here to make waves. The question is, will you be riding that wave or watching from the sidelines? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the Cybertruck is a vehicle that's redefining what a truck can and maybe should be in our lifetime. Coming in hot on our list of controversial cars is the Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV, a luxury electric SUV that's packed with tech, but according to many enthusiasts, lacks the one thing you'd expect from a Mercedes: driving excitement. Picture this, Mercedes takes their luxury electric sedan, the EQS, and turns it into an SUV, promising the ultimate blend of comfort, technology, and performance. But instead of delivering a thrilling ride, the EQS SUV feels more like a tech showcase on wheels, with critics arguing it's all show and no go. From the outside, the EQS SUV is undeniably bold, with a massive grille-less front, oversized body, and a design that screams luxury. But for many, it's just too bulky and doesn't quite capture the sleekness you'd expect from a brand that's built its reputation on stylish, performance-oriented vehicles. It's big, it's heavy, and while it's definitely luxurious, it feels more like a rolling tech lounge than a true driver's car. Inside, it's all about the screens, with the massive hyperscreen dashboard that stretches across the entire cabin, making it look more like a spaceship than an SUV. The tech is impressive, no doubt. Voice controls, customizable displays, and enough touch points to keep any gadget lover entertained for days. But all of this tech comes at a cost: the driving experience. The EQS SUV feels disconnected from the road, with a soft ride that prioritizes comfort over engagement. For those looking for the sharp, responsive driving dynamics traditionally associated with Mercedes-Benz, this SUV feels like it's fallen flat. For many, the EQS SUV just doesn't capture the essence of what makes a Mercedes a Mercedes. It's packed with luxury and cutting-edge technology, but when it comes to the driving experience, it's missing that spark that gets your heart racing. So what do you think? Is the EQS SUV a glimpse into the luxurious future of electric driving, or did Mercedes focus too much on tech and forget the thrill behind the wheel? Let me know in the comments if this is the luxury SUV you've been waiting for, or if it's just too much tech and not enough soul. Next on our list is the Mazda MX-30, the quirky electric crossover that's got car enthusiasts scratching their heads and asking why Mazda, why? When Mazda decided to enter the EV market, expectations were high. Known for their engaging driving dynamics and sleek design language, fans were eager to see how they'd tackle the world of electric vehicles. But instead of hitting the ground running, Mazda rolled out the MX-30, a car that, quite frankly, feels more like a half-hearted attempt than a serious contender. Let's start with the biggest issue: range. The MX-30 offers a measly 100 miles on a full charge, which is not just behind the competition, it's miles behind. For comparison, most modern EVs in the same class offer at least double that range, making the MX-30 feel outdated before it even gets off the lot. It's an EV that can barely get you out of town, let alone on a road trip, leaving potential buyers wondering what exactly Mazda was thinking. Then there are the unusual design choices, like the quirky suicide doors. Sure, they're a nod to Mazda's past with the RX-8, but in a practical sense, they're more of a gimmick than a functional feature. They're awkward to use in tight spaces and make loading passengers or cargo more of a hassle than it should be. It's as if Mazda tried to inject some cool factor into the MX-30 but ended up creating a car that's more style over substance. What's even more puzzling is that Mazda is known for making cars that are fun to drive, but the MX-30 just doesn't live up to that reputation. It's underpowered, lacks the spirited handling Mazda is famous for, and with that limited range, it feels like Mazda threw in the towel before the race even began. So, what's your take? Is the MX-30 an endearing oddball that brings something unique to the EV market, or is it just too impractical to make sense in today's electric landscape? Let me know in the comments, because the MX-30 might be charming in its own way, but it's also left a lot of people asking, why even bother? Closing out our list is a car that stirred up more controversy than you'd expect from a brand like Ferrari, the Purosangue, Ferrari's first ever SUV. That's right, the brand known for sleek, low-slung supercar is now rolling out an SUV, and it's got the purists clutching their pearls. For some Ferrari fans, this feels like a betrayal, a move that dilutes the legacy of one of the most prestigious names in automotive history. But here's the kicker: the Purosangue isn't just any SUV, it's a Ferrari through and through, with the heart of a performance beast and the styling to match. Under the hood, it's packing a naturally aspirated V12 engine, delivering an exhilarating 715 horsepower, ensuring that even in SUV form, Ferrari isn't sacrificing its performance pedigree. It's blisteringly fast, handles like a sports car, and carries the signature Ferrari roar that'll make your spine tingle. But still, many purists argue that Ferrari should never have entered the SUV market, feeling that it's a step too far from the brand's roots of building pure, uncompromised supercars. Now, while the purists might be up in arms, I've got to say, as a big Lamborghini fan, I'm actually in the camp that loves this thing. The Purosangue looks incredible, sexy and aggressive all at once, with lines that scream Ferrari DNA, but reimagined in a way that makes an SUV look downright menacing. It's like Ferrari took everything that makes their cars special and wrapped it in a package that's perfect for the modern era of luxury SUVs. So whether you see it as Ferrari selling out or simply evolving with the times, there's no denying the Purosangue is making waves. It's fast, it's fierce, and it's got people talking. But what about you? Are you with the purists who think Ferrari should stick to supercars, or are you all in on this new chapter that's bringing Ferrari's flair to the SUV world? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the Purosangue isn't just breaking the mold, it's shattering it. And that wraps up our rundown of the 10 most hated cars of 2024. But now, I want to hear from you. What car do you think is missing from this list? Is there one you'd add that's been driving you nuts? Or maybe you think one of these cars doesn't deserve the hate. And hey, do any of you actually own one of these cars? If so, let us know what you love or can't stand about it. I'm genuinely curious to hear your experiences. If you enjoyed the ride today, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for all the latest updates in the car world. And remember, if your car doesn't make you feel like a superhero, you're driving the wrong one. Catch you on the next ride. Friends with benefits driving off.